Hi, my name's Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. To be or not to be, that is the question. I've always wanted to say that line in a play. It's probably the most famous line that Shakespeare ever wrote. It's a powerful moment in the play Hamlet, when the Prince of Denmark is struggling whether he should exist or not exist. And in a reaction to the calamitous events that have recently happened to him, he's confronted with his existence. He's got an existential crisis facing him. And I think these lines resonate powerfully in the culture because they speak to our own lives too. I got thinking about this in the context of an event at Trillium yesterday, Saturday, that was run by the Canadian Mental Health Association called Safe Talk. It's a program that guides people into having conversations with others about suicide. I mean, if you're worried about somebody, concerned about somebody, how to broach the question of suicide as the first steps towards reaching out and helping them. And this is not an easy conversation to begin, I think we probably agree. A very important one, but not an easy conversation to have with people. I think people are anxious about these conversations. They struggle in this moment because it speaks to something very powerful within us. When we see someone struggling with suicide, whether they are to be or not to be, to exist or not to exist, it just reminds us how fragile our own lives are. You know, life is so fragile. Life is so profoundly fragile. You know, I get that feeling when I go by an accident on the 401, and cars are all mashed up in a horrible state. It makes me shudder for a moment. And I'm wondering about the people that were in the accident, what happened to them. And it reminds me that, you know, that we travel along the highway at 100 kilometers or 120 kilometers or maybe even faster, and we don't realize just how close the line it is we run when we drive in that setting. Things could change on a dime in a moment's flash. My wife, Sally, is a community nurse. She sees people grappling with the fragility of life in her work as she visits them. She meets lots of people who've come to the end. It makes us nervous because we generally go through life oblivious to the reality of our own fragile nature. It's not something that we really like thinking about a lot. When we meet someone who's struggling with the possibility of suicide, we like to turn away or avoid that moment for fear that it will bring us into a confrontation with our own mortality. Jesus meets a Jewish leader. The Jewish leader comes to him because he wants eternal life. He wants life without fragility. He wants life independent of any kind of mortal presence or any limit to it. And he asked Jesus for the gift of eternal life, and Jesus reads down through some of the 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments are really about basic acts of hospitality and generosity to others. You know, don't commit adultery. Don't take someone's relationship from them. Don't murder. Don't take someone's very life from them. Don't steal. Don't take people's stuff. Don't take people's reputation. Don't take people's heritage. It's kind of basic 101 hospitality and generosity to another. And the leader says, yes, I already do this stuff. But I want eternal life. And Jesus says, well, you got one more thing to do then. You need to sell all your stuff, give it to the poor, and come and follow me. There you will find the riches of heaven that will satisfy you. You will experience eternal life. In a way, Jesus is inviting the Jewish leader to step powerfully into the fragile nature of our lives. Not to escape it, but to step powerfully in it. He reminds the Jewish leader that the very thing that we think makes us safe, in this case his wealth, is actually the very trap we find ourselves being confronted with. We often identify with the very thing that we think makes us safe, yet the thing that we think makes us safe actually makes us more unsafe. Whether it's our anger or our good looks or our wealth or intelligence or our physical presence or strength, mental power. We sometimes identify this in such a way that we think it makes us safe, but it actually puts us more at risk. See, there's only one thing that satisfies the fragile reality of our lives, and it's love. It's just love. I know I'm going to be confronted with a moment of fragility very shortly from leaving this filming moment. And I pray in that moment when I'm confronted with that experience, that fragile invitation, that I will step into it and discover what real life is all about.